There's not many things that the entire gun industry can agree on. But one of the things they can agree on is the one gun that dang near everybody wants is the HK MP7. Now I don't have one of those, but I have created somewhat of a poor man's version of the MP7. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Today's video sponsor is Modern Warriors. Now, they didn't provide the Keltec cmr30 that I have here, but if there was anybody in the US that I feel like would be selling the MP7, it would be Modern Warriors. So as an active participant of Operator Overall's YouTube channel, what I'm gonna ask you to do, go on Modern Warriors online or take a stroll in one of their storefronts in Utah or Tennessee and tell me what you would like to see on the channel from Modern Warriors. They helped me out with my CC Shadow 2 carry. They reached out the other day and was like, hey, would really like to do another dedicated video with you other than just a little ad. So y'all let me know what y'all want to see on the channel from Modern Warriors and we'll see what can happen. Now, let's go ahead and jump right on into the video. All right, so what we have here is a Keltec cmr30. It is a 22 Magnum, comes as a 16-inch barreled carbine, but obviously made a little bit of modifications to it. Everything's legal, don't worry. This is now a SBR. So if you're wanting to recreate this, just be aware that to get this configuration, it does have to be registered as an SBR because it now has a barrel shorter than 16 inches. But if you do want to achieve a similar look, you can run a barrel shroud. I've got some reference pictures here that I threw on before I did the SBR conversion on it. And you get a very similar look. You just don't get the performance of a suppressor, but you still get the performance of a 16-inch barrel. So there's trade-offs either way. Either way you want to do it, it's a good option for sure. And then if you run the 16-inch barrel, there's some options on the market that we'll get into in just a moment. Let me take these earplugs out. That's aggravating. All right. So again, Keltec cmr30. Keltec did provide this carbine to me for the channel, and I'm super appreciative of them. So we'll go ahead and run over what I've got on it. Sitting on top, I've got a Zero Tech. This is their 1X Prism. And then sitting in front of that, I have got a Unity Riser knockoff. It's an Amazon version. Hold on one second. And that's so that I can run a thermal clip-on in front of it. So this is the DNT Hydra HS325. It's 384 resolution unit. 3-in-1 unit. I've done a video on this, this thermal. It's on the channel. And I've been running it on this setup. I think it works really doggone sweet. And just a little side note, if you are looking to do a clip-on thermal, I found that a prism, especially a 1X prism, works beautifully as a primary optic for a clip-on system, like clip-on thermal. And then I do have some Magpul M-Bus sights. These are just the polymer ones. They do come with the cmr30. Over here on this side, I've got an Enforce WMLX. I think this is the Gen 3, and that is on a 45-degree offset mount. Let's pull the thermal off and you can get a little bit better look of that. So that is on an offset mount. Underneath it, I've got a MFT. This is the folding vertical grip, because the MP7 generally has a folding vertical grip. I'm not usually a fan of vertical grips, but on this one it fits the aesthetic, and seeing that this is such a short package, it's nice having that vertical grip as opposed to trying to C-clamp it. It also gives me room to run my clip-on thermal and my light up here on the side. It makes for just a really comfortable situation there with the light. And then up front, I have got a Griffin Armament. This is the Checkmate HD, so it is a 22 caliber rimfire suppressor, and since this is 22 Magnum, I can run that. I've run a couple different cans on it, run some 5.56 cans on it, even ran some larger bore. And to me, this just fits the bill just a little bit better. 5.56 cans look really cool on here, but it adds significant weight to the front and is not necessary. I'm not running subsonic ammo. Subsonic 22 Magnum is really hard to find, and it's not all that practical. So I'm running full velocity 22 Magnum through here, and again, that is with the it's a little bit hot with the Griffin Armament Checkmate HD. Sounds really good, but I have ran this thing unsuppressed as well, and that shortens the package to about right there, and it is itty bitty, and it's super fun. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have watched videos on the CMR30s before, and pretty much everybody that runs them has the same issues. They run pretty good until they don't. You've got to keep them clean and wet. That's been the biggest thing that I've found, is keeping them clean and wet, and that's a little bit of an issue with the suppressor. Obviously, you're putting more gas and junk and crap back in the system, and so it's going to dirty it up. So you are going to have to clean this thing fairly often, and obviously make sure, again, you keep it wet, keep it lubed, to keep everything running as smooth as possible for the longest period of time. And then the second thing is going to be magazine related. The magazines are, well, first off, they feel very, very cheap. And I'd imagine they are very, very cheap, because these things are super hard to load. So this is a 30 round magazine. I got 24 rounds in it with like my fingers, and I was denting the casings and denting my fingers. You're gonna have a hard time getting 30 rounds in this magazine, even though it is specified for 30 rounds. And then most people have magazine related issues. They'll have failure to feeds, and because it's really hard to load these magazines, and if you don't load them right, it's super finicky. The CMR30 is, as far as how the rounds are loaded in the magazine. There are some tricks you can do. I've found a pretty good method, and I don't have too many issues with it, but it is recommended to get a speed loader, and I'll be doing that in the future just to save my fingers, because once you get the magazine about halfway full, it's like you hit a brick wall and you are just having to shove those rounds in with everything that your fingers got, just to try to get one more round in there for, you know, halfway through the mag. But again, that can be alleviated with a speed loader, and that's also going to help align those rounds in there. One thing I did forget to mention is I am running a single point sling. This is from Wiseman Company, and then I'm running an HK style clip, because the CMR30 does have that that little ring right there to be able to hook a 1-point sling to it. One thing I don't think I mentioned is this barrel was chopped by C3 Firearms here in Gaffney. I've ran a couple of his cans on the channel, and he chopped it down to 10 inches. So if you just want to get a reference, if you are wanting to do this, that is a 10-inch barrel now, and you can see where it is sitting with the suppressor on it. Now, moving straight along and talking about like the issues with the CMR30, there are thankfully some companies that are putting out some parts for these things. One of those being Carbo. They do put out an upgraded feed ramp and bolt release, and that can greatly increase the reliability. I have not done that. And then you've got Haga Defense. I think it's Haga. They put out some, not necessarily reliability parts, but more so aesthetic things, like some folding charging handles that I will probably be putting on here, because I think those are super cool. They've also got an upgraded buttstock from this kind of plasticky feeling one. And then, as I mentioned earlier, if you run the 16-inch barrel, they do put out some longer rails for this thing. So if you like the collapsible stock, but you don't like the look of that barrel sticking out, you can run an extended rail, and that would be a pretty doggone nice feature if you weren't going for the MP7 aesthetic. Now let's talk about my experience running this thing. So far it's been doggone blast. It is one of the most fun guns I've ever put together, one of the most fun guns I've ever shot. One thing that does take some getting used to is this. This is how you control this stock. So it rips out to full extension, but when you do go to collapse it, you've got that little paddle right there in front of the trigger guard, and I've ran some pistols where that is the magazine release, and I've ran some rifles like the Bushmaster ACR where that is the bolt release. But on here, that is how you release the stock to be able to collapse it. So that takes a little bit of getting used to. As far as the controls go, that's how you release the stock. Charging handles are a side charging on either side, and you can remove the charging handles. It's just a small little Allen key, and you can remove those if you don't want to run them on both sides. And then again, Haga, they make some folding ones as well. Magazine release, as you just now saw, is right there on the back of the grip. So you push it in right there. There's just a little button. Let's show that, a little button. Magazine drops out, and then the safety is ambidextrous. It's right there with your thumb on either side. So overall, the controls on it are super easy, super intuitive. It's just a matter of that little buttstock right there. That thingy took some getting used to, but it's super cool because say you're up, you know, you're running, you're gunning, and you need to collapse that stock. It's right there. You press it, you drop it in, and drop the gun. You're slung back up with a super compact stock. And it's really cool with that folding grip because I can take and fold everything in, drop it, and it's super compact. And then again, ribs back out, and I'm ready to rock. One thing that I did not mention is in terms of companies that are putting out parts for the cmr30 is Stuff and Things. Check that out. They put out an extended magazine. So now, instead of running the standard 30s, I can run 50, theoretically. I couldn't get 50 rounds in here. I got 42 rounds in here with my fingers. It's all I could possibly muster up in the magazine. But if you do run a speed loader, I think you can probably get at least closer to 50 rounds in there. And it just helps achieve that MP7 aesthetic with that long magazine out of the grip. With that being said, let's go ahead and shoot this doggone thing some more because it is so much fun. And here we are. Again, if you don't load those things perfectly, you are going to have some issues. Let's see if we get these 2 rounds back in there. I will say, man, this thing is slinging some rounds. As far as the casings, my car is parked over there like, I don't know, probably 25 feet. And I hear these casings landing on my hood. Come on now. What's going on here? All right, locked in there. Let's see. All right, that joker just got all bent up. Trash barrel. Come on now. Telling you guys. Runs good till it doesn't. So you just having all kinds of issues when it comes to feeding. These magazines are the biggest downside to the cmr30. But when it does run, doggone it, is it fun. Picking up that round. All right, let's pick this off camera. All right, we got it lubed up again. Let's see, we got a round in the chamber. Crap. All right, see if I can show y'all what's going on here. See, you see that bolt is running over top of the rounds, and it's not actually feeding them up into the chamber. And it is bending or denting the casings. So that round is no longer safe to fire. Again, M Carbo, they do make upgraded bolt release and feed lips that I will be looking to put this thing in. Hopefully increase the reliability, because this is not fun right now. All right, we got through that. Maybe it's just those couple rounds in the mag. Let's go ahead and load both mags up and keep on running this thing. All right, we got some rounds loaded back up. Let's see if we can get these to function a little bit better. Crap. All right. Well, that's supposed to be really cool. Reload out of the overalls pocket. All right, see if we can, that mag ran pretty good. Let's see if we can. Got through that. Whew, got gas all in my eyes. Yeah, you just gotta make sure you keep this thing really wet, and don't load those magazines completely full. All right, now if you were to ask me moving forward, what would I want to change about this thing? Two things. Only two things that I want to change about the cmr30. One of those being magazines. I wish somebody would come out with a better magazine for it. Second, somebody needs to come out with an FRT for the cmr30. We got one for the TX22. Let's get one out for the cmr30. Can you imagine this thing running a forced reset trigger? Holy heck, that would be so much fun. All right, so 22 Magnum. Let's talk about it a little bit. I've done several videos on the 22 LR, and those always get a good response. Well, they always get a big response. Not necessarily a good response, just because of my opinion. When it comes to 22 LR, I don't think it's a good fighting round. People argue, and just go check the videos and read the comments if you want to see proof of that. But 22 Magnum, we're taking a 22 caliber bullet and we're putting a lot more powder behind it and increasing the velocity. Anywhere from yeah, there we go. Yeah, increasing the velocity of it. 22 Magnum's no slouch when it comes to energy on target. Hunters have been using it to take down all kinds of stuff, everything from pigs to coyotes to it's one of the most popular whitetail deer poaching rounds. If you've got an uncle that spotlights deer, chances are he's been doing it with a 22 Magnum. Or if you've got a farmer's license or the farmer's permit and you need to remove pests, 22 Magnum's used for those deer as well. 22 Magnum, there's some pretty awesome rounds available for 22 Magnum. Like I've sitting in the car, I've got some Hornady Critical Defense. That's the same bullet design that I run in my carry pistol. You also got like Spear Gold Dot and some of the other really respected self-defense rounds available in 22 Magnum. But ultimately, it's still a rimfire round. It's still a rimfire cartridge, and so with that, you get the downfalls of rimfire. For one, it tends to be less reliable than centerfire stuff. Rimfire rounds also don't handle corrosion very well. It doesn't take much for that powder in there to get wet, molded, that kind of stuff, and you've got dead rounds. That's the two main issues with rimfire. The biggest one is just the unreliability of it. That's my biggest complaint when talking about 22 LR for self-defense. Hang on, my dad's calling me. Hello? Hey. I also need to let you know that 22 Magnum is not cheap. So I went and bought 300 rounds the other day. It was like 140 bucks. So it's not like 22 LR where you drop a round in the grass and it's like, no biggie. Or, you know, you have a failure to feed and that casing gets dented up and you got to toss it in the trash barrel. And that kind of hurts a little bit when I see a 22 Magnum round get all dented up and I've got to toss it or I lose one in the grass or something like that. Again, it's like 140 bucks for 300 rounds. That's almost, you're almost looking at 50 cents a round for 22 Magnum. That adds up very quickly when you start running this thing quick. But overall, 22 Magnum's a pretty stout round when you look at it ballistically. There's more powerful rimfire rounds. Like I've got a 17 WSM Winchester Super Mag. and it's a 17 caliber bullet, not a 22 caliber bullet, but it is absolutely screaming when it comes to velocity, and that's got more energy than 22 Magnum, but 22 Magnum is running a heavier round. So what I've been running is the CCI game points. It's the 40 grain rounds, and most of your 22 Magnum is going to be some sort of game style point, so it's going to be some sort of soft tip, but again, they've got all kinds of stuff out there for them, whether you're talking like a ballistic tip, like, you know, your varmint tipped stuff. I've got the Hornady critical defense, you've got the Spear gold dot stuff, and there's plenty of other like self-defense rounds as well. So overall, 22 Magnums, again, no slouch. Easily able to shoot 100 yards, even with this little 10-inch barrel. 22 Magnum pistols, really popular. And overall, I like the round itself. A lot of the reliability issues that you're seeing in this video is not because of 22 Magnum, it's because of the magazine. That's a big downfall of this platform itself. So, would I trust this thing for self-defense? Not a chance. Is it super cool? Yeah, absolutely, man. This thing is so much fun. Again, it's just like that MP7 aesthetic. There's obviously other options on the market, like the Rock 5.7 the PSA is supposed to be coming out with. You've got the CP33 from Keltec that one of the companies makes, like a modular chassis type thingy that goes on it, and I think is some parts make it MP7-ish. To me, I've just always wanted the cmr30. I thought that I could create this out of it. I just had to get to a point where I could do it, and I don't regret it at all. Super fun. Again, not using it for self-defense. Now, for the occasional critter, absolutely, especially running that clip-on thermal, running this suppressed, this is a killer when it comes to pests. And then like here in South Carolina, when it comes to varmints like pigs and coyotes and that kind of stuff, you can hunt them on public land, but you're limited to whatever caliber is in season. So during deer season, you can shoot them with whatever you want to, but if you're outside of deer season, you're pretty much limited to rimfire rounds. So if I want to go shoot pigs on public land in South Carolina, I've got to use 22 Magnums. Is probably going to be my best bet if I want to run a firearm and not archery equipment. And I got to tell you, if I'm trekking around the swamps of South Carolina, I don't want a super huge heavy rifle. I think this is a good option, and I'll make it my goal to try to put down a pig with this thing. I'll throw thermal on it, and we'll blast away at it. Even if it's not public land, if I can find some private land. A private landowner here in South Carolina with a pig problem, I'll show up and I'll see if I can get it done with the cmr30. I think it'd be super cool. For those that aren't aware, Keltec does put out the PMR30. It's a pistol version of this, so it's the same lower basically, same grip, same trigger, that kind of stuff, same magazines. It's just a pistol version of it. But overall, I'm really enjoying this cmr30 from Keltec, the Poor Man MP7, as I have dubbed it. Super cool gun. Not super reliable, but it is a doggone blast to shoot. Makes a neat little, you know, around the farm type gun if you want to shoot critters and that kind of stuff, or just want to have fun with your friends. If you've got any questions about it, any interest in it, let me know in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. I think that's all I have for you. I appreciate you watching, and I will catch you on the next one.